Before I get into today's video, remember to follow me on Twitter. So my Twitter, the link is in the description below. You can also find me. My handle is @JacksonKruger. Come over, say hi, and anyways, back to your regularly scheduled video. All right, well, time for another one of my 5 favorite bets of the week. As I like to say with each of these bets, if you're someone who does not gamble and is thinking about it, I always say only gamble what you're willing to lose. Most people that gamble on football do not make their money. It's strictly an entertainment thing, and I think these videos are sort of less about the actual gambling advice and more about just guessing if I can, it's sort of a challenge to myself to see how well I can do actually trying to pick against spreads, because it's notoriously difficult. So the disclaimer is out of the way. Let's have some fun, and let's talk about my 5 favorite bets of the week. Number 1, right off the bat, this giant spread definitely jumped out at me. I say, listen, it used to be a running joke on this channel, especially on the podcast, of always gamble responsibly, never bet on the Jets. I think bet on the Jets in this one. Plus 16 is a lot. And listen, I know Buffalo, there is a chance that they have stuff to play for, but still, how much do they really care? They're already in a playoff spot. They're trying to win their division, so they care to some degree for sure. But I think the flip side is the Jets looked pretty competent against Tampa Bay last week. I think they have actually looked pretty competent these past few weeks. I still expect the Bills to win by a good amount. I just think that I trust the Jets to get within 16. That seems very conceivable for me, especially if Zach Wilson continues how he played last week. And also the flip side is the Jets played a lot of cover 2 and a lot of quarters coverage against Tampa Bay, keeping everything in front of them. You might see some long methodical drives, maybe not the most possessions in this game. And if there isn't the most possessions in this game, to me that also factors in, because I think that lower possessions just makes it tougher to cover a spread that big. So these last weeks of the season, it seems like there's always a couple of surprisingly big spreads. I feel like this is one of them. So again, if it was Jets plus 10, I don't know if I'd love it, but plus 16, give me the Jets. All right, next one on the list, give me the Cardinals minus 6 here. The Cardinals are a team that they have something to play for, similar to Buffalo, but a little bit more, because winning the division there matters a bit more, because you don't want to get the 5 seed. You don't want to have to go on the road to play whoever ends up being the 4 seed, which, it would either be Dallas, Tampa Bay, or the Rams if the Cardinals lose. Those are tough teams, and Seattle just hasn't looked great. I know that they came off a game where they blew out the Lions. To me, that's more about the Lions than it is about anything else. NFC West games are always odd, and Seattle Seahawks games are always odd, so I can kind of get the hesitancy towards wanting to pick this one, just because, hey, Russell Wilson on the other side. The Cardinals coverage hasn't looked as good as we've seen it look in previous weeks. Maybe Seattle can get something going offensively, but we haven't seen that much this season. So, again, I know they just came off a game where they blew out the Lions. I trust Arizona to be able to scheme stuff against this cover 3 zone Seahawks defense. They did a fine job of it last time. So I like Arizona to not just win, but to cover this 6-point spread here. All right, my next one here, I am going, give me the balls. That is the Washington football team against the Giants, just because the Giants have been so completely garbage recently. I just think that this is, the Giants have just been so bad as of late. Daniel Jones did kind of cover some of the flaws of this team. I think that the best thing to happen to Daniel Jones was him getting replaced by Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm. Kind of made people realize, oh, maybe Daniel Jones wasn't that bad. Maybe he wasn't the issue here. Also, a lot of injuries in that wide receiving core. I think really the reality is I don't trust this Giants offense to be able to get much going against the Balls defense, and I do trust Washington should be able to get stuff going against the Giants defense. The Giants have been getting blown out every week, it seems like. I think this is more of the same. So give me Washington, and give me, Taylor Heineke, who will be playing potentially his last game. He's playing for a contract. I think he's still under contract in Washington, but playing to potentially get a contract in the future, and we know how he does when that happens. We saw the game against Tampa Bay in the playoffs. I just like Washington in this one. All right, next one here, give me the Cincinnati Bengals plus 6, and this is a weird game that if you want to stay away from, listen, I get it. I can understand wanting to stay away from this one. A big part of it is because there's no Joe Burrow here, and in fact, a good amount of the Cincinnati Bengals players will not be playing in this football game. They're benching a good amount of their starters, just simply because I think of injury concerns. It's less of a, hey, let's bench all of our starters, and more of a, if you're not 100%, we don't have a bye week. There is an outside chance they could get the 1 seed, but it's very slim. Like, they would need both the Chiefs and the Titans to lose, which seems unlikely. And also, it might be, that might be clinched out before the game even starts because the Chiefs play on Saturday. So maybe you can adjust your decision if that happens, potentially. But quite frankly, I think that it's fascinating. However, I still just like Cincinnati in this one. I think they have more to play for one thing. Not really because they have anything to play for, but I think Cleveland will just be bummed out. And I guess my main thought is neither one of these teams is playing with their starting quarterback, so give me the team that has +6 on their record, because who knows what's going to happen. It's a coin flip game, but one team is getting 6 points, so I just like the 6 points. That's really where my mind is at. Finally, I'm doing this again, even though it came back to bite me last week. I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Now, I picked them against the Jets when they had, I think, -13. They won with a last-second touchdown, so did not quite cover that spread. However, I think that they will cover this one. We just saw them kill the Panthers, and quite frankly, in the Tom Brady era, they've done very well against Carolina. I do think that that will continue to some degree, probably to a large degree. I don't really know what Carolina does differently in this one that can work. I guess the one thing you could bring up is Antonio Brown was a big factor in that Panthers-Buccaneers game. He's no longer there. Maybe with this, new and not improved receiving core with Tampa Bay, maybe they just struggle a little bit more and can't quite get as much open against Carolina. I could see that happening, but I don't know. I just think that the Panthers' offense has been so inept that Tampa Bay should get plenty of opportunities. Brady should get plenty of opportunities, and they should be able to make the most of them. So it's really hard to come up with a way the Panthers win this one, certainly. And I always like picking a team that's probably going to win, because that means they're probably going to win by a good margin if I feel that strongly about them. So it's an interesting game, mostly just to see how Tampa Bay does in this one. But yeah, that's what I think about this one. So yeah, those are my bets of the week. One thing I'll say is I don't like betting on that Raiders-Chargers game. I think that's a coin flip game that could go either way. I say stay away from that one. That's my opinion on it. If I had to bet, probably give me the Raiders because they have +2.5, but don't feel strong about it. That's kind of how I feel. Again, kind of a fun series. I'm not sure if I can keep this going for the playoffs, because how would I do it, right? I mean, only one of the weeks has 5 games. Maybe I could do something where I pick over-unders as well, or just pick the games against the spread and the over-unders and just, do it that way. That might be not the worst way to do it. But yeah, it should be fun. Again, I've had a lot of fun doing this series. I got to do it next year from the start, because I started too late. It did end up being a pretty fun series. So and I guess I'll keep it going, probably. Maybe. We'll see. I'll be busy with the game previews and stuff. But yeah, that's what I think. Those are my 5 favorite picks. What are your, which ones do you agree with? Which ones do you disagree with? Let me know that in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.